Hello. This is aiming to be a quick video to help those of you struggling with the SPSS review exercise. I'm going to jump into SPSS a little bit so you see how it works, to get reminded. And I'm not going to go through the SPSS instructions, so my choosing which functions to use will be based on that. I'm expecting you to read those and get comfortable with those on your own. But then more importantly, talk about the output and answer to the research question. Here goes. So first of all, we start out, now I have all the answers filled in. This is in OneNote class notes, so it's there for you to look at on your own time. And first of all, the variable names. So if we go here into the data set, right? So I told you variable 1, which is number 5, and number 21, right? So you go here to 5. So it's FINC3. All right, FINC3, that's not very meaningful. This is a Canadian Community Health Survey, by the way. So it's a Stats Canada survey that's done every 6 years or so. So these are codes that they use. Now, but it gives you a label. So you can see in this label right away, you can see the full, and I stretch this out, right? So it might come up here like this to you. You can just stretch it out so you can read the whole thing. Did not eat desired quality variety of food, right? And the breakdown is often, sometimes, or never. Okay, so remember it's a categorical variable, and these are all non-applicable so far. So you kind of investigate the variable, and the name goes in here. What type is it? Categorical, ordinal. Ordinal because often, sometimes, never has order to it. And the second variable we go to is number 21. 21 also with a code that's impenetrable, but you read the label and it says total usual hours worked per week. Ding, ding, measurement, double check, sure. Because these are all so there's values from 0 to whatever. And these are just the codes for missing data and the reasons for that. So we have a measurement versus categorical. So that there. And when we have that situation, always the categorical variable is the independent variable. So total number of hours worked is dependent on whether you had, that's the way we frame the research question, whether you had the desired quality variety food. Okay, so there, I'm going to put a slash in here. All right, so now how did we get to these? So numerical data, so notice categorical, ordinal, or measurement. That's the key. No numerical, nothing, no other labels. Those are the labels that we're going to use in this course. So now we go to, and SPSS instructions will help you choose these. Which graphs? Well, we have a whole bunch of choices here, but for one measurement, one categorical, which is ding, 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 compare means, we either have comparison box plot or histogram. So let's see the box plot first. And if you go to SPSS instructions, it tells you to choose simple, summaries for groups of cases, define, and there we go. So now, category axis, because you have to have a category, right? So down here, often, sometimes, never in the in the output, you can see on the right side here. I'm pointing to it. And variable, that's the measurement variable, total usual hours worked. So that's on the vertical axis. Next, histogram, right? So same thing, graphs, look at the histogram, and the key here is paneled by rows. And that's the categorical variable there. So each of these panels is a separate category, never, sometimes, often. Now it's kind of useless because there's comparatively few data points for often and sometimes. And then the numerical data is under analyze, and we have a compare means function. So we just do compare means. That's it. That's all we need. Dependent lists, and did not eat desired food is the variable that's dependent on. So that the total usual hours worked is dependent on this layer. Okay, and so that produces this chart. Now, in here I chose options, so this is where you can move these around to make them in the order you like. You can add stuff, you can take stuff out if you like. All right, so that's where for some of you comments, you only put the mean, I think it starts with mean, standard deviation, and n. So I added a few more and shuffled things around here. All right. So now we produce these, so how do we answer the research question? And I told you in class the answer to the research question is not that important, but I've been thinking over the week, we need to get through this because part of the issue is what I see people doing is producing p-values and talking about statistical significance, and we're not there yet. We're not doing hypothesis testing yet. Now you might have done that in stat2001, I think you did. But I want to sort things out. Before we go to inference, let's sort out what we have here. We got to look at the information we have and compare the different groups. We have an often group, sometimes group, and a never group. So we're going to compare these. And so in this text, what I'm doing is I'm giving you way more than I would expect from you information, but the kind of language that helps you think about what I call practical significance. So practical significance is just as important as statistical significance, and I think it's more important because I don't care if the p-value comes up to 0.05. In this case, is there a huge difference between the three groups? Well, between sometimes and never, I mean, come on, there's not much difference at all, right? You're pretty similar in everything except standard deviation, but and in n, the sample size, right? Or sort of the breakdown in those groups, right? So really, there's not that much difference, so I wouldn't spend any time on that. In the often group, it's a little bit less in terms of hours of work, but when I look at the box plot, I go, well, yeah, it's a little lower. The median is a little lower than the other medians, but it's not a dramatically different look. And so that's what I want to focus on at this point. And then if you find that the p-value comes back less than 0.05, okay, statistical significance, but really the dramatic difference is not visible. Okay, so that's a little bit of language there for you. I'm going to stop now because we're at 7 minutes and hope that this video helps you make sense of this exercise. And works on part 2 with a little bit more kind of, a little bit of something, a foundation, I guess. Anyway, see you tomorrow.